Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it's a little bit something different. The topic at hand is actors that I wish would make a comeback in Hollywood. Now, before I go any further with this topic, I want to give a special shout out to Deshawn for requesting this topic for this particular video. And if there's another film, TV show, or topic that you would like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to either my PayPal or to my Patreon. Link to both is in the video description down below, and I will try to get your request as soon as I possibly can. Now, Deshaun, he said that he wanted me to pick 5 actors or actresses. I decided to focus primarily on actors, and I wound up deciding to put together a list of more than just 5 actors. It was a little bit easier for me to do that. So I'm just going to list them off and I'm going to talk about why I would like to see them make a comeback and what maybe their comeback film or project could potentially look like. The first actor I am going to mention is Emilio Estevez. I'm a big fan of Emilio. I've always felt he has been a very underrated performer and actor, and he hasn't done a whole lot. He made a brief return to the Mighty Ducks franchise with the Game Changers show on Disney Plus for only one season. He was one of the many Brat Pack members that were interviewed in the Brat Pack documentary, Brats, that came out, I think, earlier this year or sometime last year. And I get it. It seems like he is just the type who doesn't really want to do a whole lot nowadays. He just wants to stay retired. But I would love to see him in a mainstream film again, to see him in the theater, whether it's a small role or a part of an ensemble cast or as a lead. Just something would be nice. I still think he is still very capable. I definitely feel that his skills as an actor haven't really completely deteriorated over the years, and I think he still has some screen presence. So I think he should be considered more for some of these upcoming projects and films. Uh, but it just seems like he's not on anybody's radar. And I think it's because his star has very much waned over the years. And I'm also wondering if maybe the fact that he's Charlie Sheen's brother is also something, which I think is lame. Like, why would you punish Emilio for him just being brothers with Charlie Sheen because Charlie Sheen is controversial nowadays? It's like, I think that's really unfair, but given how things are, that that honestly would not be that surprising if that was the reason for why he's not really on a lot of people's radar. But I would love to see it. I would love to see Emilio in something more substantial. Now, another actor I would like to see make a comeback is Peter Weller, and it's not just because I'm a RoboCop fanboy or a huge Weller mark. It's because I think he's another actor who still has the skills, still has what it takes, and I think it just really is one of those things where it depends on somebody being willing to take a chance on him and willing to cast him in something that suits his strengths, and isn't really something that is limiting because of his age. Like, cause he's definitely an older actor. He's an older man, and you'd have to take that into account. But I think if you, for instance, had a Brandon Cronenberg project and you brought Weller in and he played a significant role, kind of like what you had with the director of The Substance, who had Dennis Quaid in a similar pretty significant role. I think you could have Weller in a film in that kind of capacity. Because I think he's still got it. I genuinely do. He just is not really on a lot of people's lists, similar to Emilio and other actors on this list. But I think with the right director, the right script, you get something that's kind of weird and creepy and strange and surreal, like Naked Lunch again. I think Weller could be a really good fit, and I'm not necessarily asking or wanting him to be RoboCop again. I don't want that actually. I want to see him do something with Brandon Cronenberg, the director of The Substance, some up and coming, filmmakers who do a lot of avant garde, surreal stuff, because I really think that's where Weller shines. Now, another actor I have on the list is Kurt Russell. I love Kurt Russell. He is the man, if you ask me. And it's it's honestly a shame that his last like major film role in a film that was released in theaters was Mr. Nobody in Fast 9. This is Kurt Russell we're talking about. There's no reason that he should not be getting a significant part in a major film from an up and coming director or something along those lines. He shouldn't be stuck doing a Monarch, a Godzilla spinoff, like for streaming. Like Kurt Russell is a lot more talented and a lot better actor than a guy who should just be relegated to being stuck in direct to streaming land. It doesn't necessarily have to be a film with him as a lead, but I would prefer that. I think he can still carry a film. I think if it's more of a dramatic film, I think that would be a good choice, something along the lines of Dark Blue, for instance. Um, and I think he's genuinely a very capable actor who can do a lot of things and has a very wide range as an actor as well. And honestly, I'd even be open to something like Old Man Snake because I think that could be fun. I think that could honestly still work really well because Snake Plissken was never a character who really got out of whatever situation he was in due to sheer physicality and youth. Like he got out of situations with his wits and in other ways. Like physicality helped, but like you could Kurt's still in pretty good shape. So I think he could still kick some ass. And I'd much rather see something like Old Man Snake than another remake or reboot. I don't want to see an Escape from New York remake. I would rather see Old Man Snake. Why not? Doesn't even have to be directed by John Carpenter. Just bring Kurt Russell back with the eye patch, back as Snake Plissken in a future that's even more fucked and even more dystopian than it was in Escape from LA. Now, another actor I have on my list is Wesley Snipes. Now, Wesley had a bit of a comeback recently in Deadpool and Wolverine, and so I'm hoping that that will turn into something where maybe he will get to do Blade 4 and be the older Blade, or maybe he will get some other opportunity for a more mainstream film project because of his involvement in Deadpool and Wolverine, which is one of the most successful films ever made at this point. So it would be nice to see Wesley be able to capitalize upon that because I don't think he really was given, honestly, that much after he served his time for his tax evasion. Expendables 3, and little bit parts and other stuff. It seems like a lot of the stuff that he got was just direct to streaming, direct to video, direct to DVD or Blu-ray. Not really a whole lot of major theatrical stuff, or even like serious projects. Like he had some work in that vein, like Dolomite Is My Name, but other than that, like it just a lot of very um weak and lame and forgettable and cheap projects that he was attached to. So I would like to see Wesley get a bigger shot in something a little bit bigger because I still think that he's got it. I still think he's got the charisma. He showed it in Deadpool and Wolverine, and I think he can still play Blade, and I think he also plays other characters too if they're willing to cast him. Another action star that I would like to see make a comeback is Jean-Claude Van Damme, because I think Van Damme has one more good film in him. Like one more good, somewhat mainstream, moderately budgeted movie in him. I don't think that it's going to be something that's going to be very physical, because he's definitely older now and he can't do as much as he was able to do in the past. But I think he's still got that signature charm and charisma. And I still think you could put him in something along the lines of like a John Wick kind of thing, but an older, slower version. And I think that could still work. Or if you want to do something that's more dramatic like JCVD, I think that could also work as well. Another thing that I think could also work as a wild card is casting him in some kind of comedy or something like that. Because I think his comedic talents are pretty underutilized, and I think he could play a fun character role in something. Uh, but I would like to see him get a little bit more than just direct to streaming stuff. Another actor I have on my list is Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis, I've been wanting to see him make a bigger comeback ever since he retired. And it just seems like he's a guy who's fine with just staying out of the spotlight. And I appreciate that and I respect that. In fact, I respect the hell out of Rick because he sacrificed his career in Hollywood to take care of his kids after his wife died. So I mean, the fact that he was that selfless, he was willing to throw all of that away or put it on hold for a long time to do what's right for his family is just so amazing. And I think that it would be really cool to see him make a more uh, serious a comeback in the industry. I think starting him out as a part of an ensemble cast would be a great idea because that way he can kind of ease himself in. And then maybe if that turns out well, then maybe give him a starring role. Because really, Rick hasn't really had that many starring roles if you really look at his career. So I would love to see him play a starring role in like a drama comedy kind of thing. I think he could really do great with that. Um, but I just would like to see more of Rick, period. Another comedic actor I'd like to see make a comeback is Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller has not done anything of note for years now. He's pretty much just now an executive producer. He hasn't acted in anything in a long time, and he hasn't fully committed to being retired. But it definitely doesn't seem like it's one of those things where acting is like on the forefront of his mind. But I would love to see him make a comeback and not really in like a sequel to a popular franchise that he's a part of. Something that's quirky, that's offbeat, that's daring, like Tropic Thunder. I think that would be really cool. I would love to see Ben do something really risky like that again. If not something along those lines, then maybe something that's a little more dramatic. Not Simple Jack, but something that's a little bit more dramatic, like what is it, the Secret Life of Walter Mitty, stuff like that. Like I would love to see Ben go into that direction as he gets older as a actor. Now, another actor I have on my list is Sylvester Stallone. And I know Sylvester Stallone has done stuff. He was in Expendables 4, but it was a very bit part. He was barely in it. His heart wasn't in the performance either. And he's got Tulsa King right now that's doing well, and he's also got some other direct to video movie that he's going to be co-starring in. But what I'm talking about is like a mainstream moderate budgeted film that gets a fairly wide theatrical release. And what I want to see Stallone do is go the Clint Eastwood route. I've always felt that he was very capable of that. I honestly felt he was the only actor left that could fill Eastwood's shoes as a actor, writer, and director, because I do think he's actually a real triple threat as a filmmaker and as a performer in the industry. I really do feel that Stallone is that good, but he's selling himself so short by just sticking with Tulsa King, a reality show with his daughters and his wife, and being connected to all these like potential reboots and spin-offs and stuff involving his other projects. Do that Edgar Allan Poe movie you've been wanting to do for many, many years. Do the mob film that was you were rumored to do with Taylor Sheridan. Do something. It doesn't even have to be a film where you are necessarily the star. It could be a movie that's directed by somebody else and written by somebody else, but it's a really good script, and they decide to cast you in a role similar to something like Copland. I genuinely feel that Stallone, if he puts his mind to it, if he puts everything that he has into a really good role that has a lot of dramatic weight to it, I think he can absolutely knock it out of the park. I genuinely feel that he can really deliver a very winning and very worthy performance. But it's just a matter of a studio or a filmmaker really wanting to go for Sly, really wanting to be on his side and be in his corner and be the ones to say, hey, let's take a chance on this guy. I know he's old. I know he's maybe considered to be old news, but I really think that he's the right actor for this role. I mean, he's not that bad of an actor. He's not bad enough that he should just be doing bit parts in direct to video, forgettable action thrillers. That's not really what I think Sly's future should be when it comes to the the time that he has left. And he's up there in age. I get it, but he's still in good shape. He's still pretty well there mentally. So I don't get it. And part of it's Stallone. I don't think he's actually choosing the right projects either. But time is running out, and I don't want the last theatrical film that he appeared in to be Expendables 4. Now, Brad Dourif is another one that I have on my list. And Brad Dourif, he's another older actor. But here's the thing about Brad. I think Brad should get an opportunity to do some of the kind of wild, crazy projects that Nick Cage is doing. Because I think that Brad Dourif is a good enough actor and he's a versatile enough actor that he can actually pull off those kind of roles and do them well. So I want to see him do something with Panos Cosmatos. I want to see him do something with Forgot, the director of The Substance, or Brandon Cronenberg, or David Cronenberg, or some other up and coming filmmaker who is focusing on sci-fi horror. I want to see him do that because he's so much more than just Chucky. And I think the fact that he's been so typecast in that particular role, it has soured him on acting. And you can tell, like, he is not giving it his all when it comes to these Chucky performances in the most recent seasons of the Chucky TV show. And you really can't blame him. He's older now and he's more tired and he's probably sick of it. He's probably sick of being Chucky, but he's got to do it in order to pay the bills. And it sucks that that's the only thing that he seems to consistently get. He's such a good actor. He shouldn't have to rely solely upon Chucky to be able to work in this industry. So Brad should be getting a lot more roles because he's still as talented as ever. He just needs roles that he can actually do something with, that he can actually rekindle that passion and that fire that he used to have, because he doesn't have that with Chucky. And he won't have it with Chucky if he's still attached to some other Chucky project in the near future. So, yeah, I would love to see Brad get more opportunities. Another actor, not a popular choice, but I think that I genuinely do feel that this is an actor who I think should have a comeback. At least a way to kind of show that he can remain sober, he can put his life on track, get above and beyond all of the controversies in his life and his career. And that actor is Johnny Depp. I know the track record with him as of late is not good. But I genuinely do feel that he still has something left in the tank. And I think when it comes to Johnny, it just takes the right director and the right project. I think reuniting with Tim Burton would be really cool, could have a lot of potential, or maybe just something a little bit more different, but also that kind of ties into Johnny's own sensibilities as an actor and as a person. Um, I think that Johnny is a very flawed person. He's made a lot of mistakes, but I think if he ever gets to the point where he has that moment of self-reflection and he realizes that he didn't handle things the best way when it comes to how he carried himself on set and other things, and he actually makes steps to be better, he should be rewarded with a legitimate chance at a comeback. And the reason why Johnny's on here is because I would like to see him make a comeback, because I actually do like Johnny Depp as an actor, but I would like to see him make a comeback. Honestly, not really necessarily for fans of his, but for Johnny. For him to make a comeback, he has to look inside himself and make a change, like what Robert Downey Jr. did, what Michael Keaton did. Michael Keaton has had this pretty significant major comeback as of late, but it's because he found a way to recover from his own personal demons. He was actually a pretty bad alcoholic. He even admitted that. So he had to get clean and sober, and not just in the film, but like in real life. And when he did that, he was able to have a new look on life and his career and resurrect his once dying star. And I think that, Johnny can do that. He is one of the last remaining actors that is still fairly young enough, who still has a decent amount left in the tank, who can actually have that comeback and win an Oscar, be that kind of actor and performer. But he just has to get his head on straight. And he has to do that first before he has any chance or a real opportunity to make this kind of a comeback in the industry. Another actor I have on my list is Eddie Murphy. I know he just had Beverly Hills Cop 4, Axel F, and that did well. Never got a theatrical release. I'm talking about something that gets released in theaters, not Netflix. Something that gets released in theaters, not necessarily a comedy. If it's a really good script and Eddie is game and he has the same energy that he had in Axel F, I'd be all for it. Not something like You People or Coming to America. But another dramatic role would be fun. I think that could be really interesting. Because he was really good in Dreamgirls. It's just a shame he had to be in Norbit in the same year, and that probably cost him the Oscar. But I think, there's still room for Eddie. He's still got that charm. He's still got that charisma. He's still got that smile. Like he still has the elements and the things that made him popular and made him such a likable actor and performer. So I don't think he should just be stuck in Netflix land. Um Another actor I have on my list is Antonio Banderas. Yes, he's gonna be like a co-star, like a bad guy in some up and coming film. He was one of the villains in Uncharted. He's gotten work, and he was even in like Dial of Destiny in a very small role, but the work he's getting is minimal, and it's not really leaving that much of an impact, and it's giving him nothing to work with. And I think that's the reason why I have him on this list, is because most of the films that he's getting small roles in. He's not getting significant parts. He's given stuff like Motormouth and Expendables 3 that he can't make work, and he's he's still an incredibly talented actor. So I think that Banderas is definitely another performer who, despite his age and everything, like if he gets the right project, the right filmmaker, the right script, the right people behind him, he can turn something mundane, or something that a lot of people might think won't really amount to much, into something special. But it just depends on the right project for him. But I would like to see it, because seeing him just be completely wasted in so many of these film roles that he's gotten lately is honestly kind of sad. It's like, hey, on one hand, he's getting work. On the other hand, he's getting shit jobs. And he's not really an actor who, in my opinion, is the type of guy who is deserving of those kind of shit jobs and really bit parts. Um, Another actor I have on this list is Jeff Goldblum. Speaking of not getting a whole lot, there's another actor for you. I think he did a great job in the streaming series Chaos, playing the villain. You could tell he had a blast playing that role, but the show only lasted one season. And a lot of stuff with Jeff, he just isn't given a lot to work with, isn't given significant roles. He just seems to be somebody who's not really on a lot of people's radar anymore, not really considered for a wide variety of roles, unless it's nostalgia stuff. And I think he's better than that. So I would love to see Jeff do something bigger. I would love to see him do something in the horror sci-fi genre again, like the Fly remake. I think he could still do that. I think he can still fit right in with those kind of films. Another actor I have on my list is kind of a controversial one, along with Johnny Depp, Mel Gibson. And I know a lot of people are gonna not agree with me on this one, but I feel that Mel has paid his dues. He has made a litany of errors and mistakes, and said a lot of hurtful things, and really shown a very ugly side of him. And despite all of that, he's been sober for over a decade. He's no longer an alcoholic. He is not in the media and in the news when it comes to him saying the kind of things that he did that got him in trouble in the first place. You have people like Robert Downey Jr. who are continuing to advocate for Mel, because Mel was there for Robert when Robert had his struggles. And it honestly seems like Mel has taken the steps, has done the work. He's no longer an alcoholic. He's remorseful. He definitely seems like a man, whenever you see his interviews, he seems like a man who is very aware of what he did, the price of what he said, and it definitely does seem like something that he realizes was somewhat in the wrong. And I mean, otherwise, why would he get sober? Like, why would he even take all these steps to get sober if he didn't realize that he was in a bad spot, and he was uh, going about things the wrong way? And yes, he did get opportunities after he recovered. Edge of Darkness, and I saw that in the theater, and he was great in it, but that movie did nothing in the box office. Get the Gringo, I like. Didn't really do much of anything. And he was one of the better things about Expendables 3. But I want to see Mel in another major film. Like, I want to see a filmmaker and a studio take a big swing with him. Because I think he's still got that passion, man. You just listen to his interviews and you see him in films like On the Line. Like, he's still got the talent. He has not lost it. And he's not only a guy who's capable of directing. I mean, he's still a great director. I mean, look what he did with Hacksaw Ridge. He hadn't directed a film in years, and he did a phenomenal job with that film. So I think Mel is definitely somebody who I think he's still got one, maybe two, maybe even three really great powerhouse strong performances out of him. And I would love to see him get the opportunity to show those performances to the rest of the world and not just be stuck in direct to streaming, direct to video land because of mistakes he made in the past. It's one of those things where I get it. I get why people are upset. I'm upset at the things that he said. I think they're wrong and he should have never said them. But at the same time, I'm also a believer in redemption, especially for things like that. If you own up to it, if you take the steps to better yourself, which Mel has done, then I think you should get every opportunity to have a comeback and not in Lethal Weapon 5 because he genuinely is too old for that shit. And the last two actors I have on my list are Arnold Schwarzenegger and Robert Englund. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger I have on here for a similar reason as Sylvester Stallone. I think he's better than what he's been doing lately, definitely better than Fubar, and I would like to see Arnold do something like The Last Stand again. If you watch him in interviews, I think he's still got that charisma. It's just some one of those things where he needs the right project with the right writer and the right director. Maybe something meta would be fun, but maybe not because Last Action Hero didn't really do that well. Um, Maybe like a film where he plays off of a younger actor, like maybe like a duo buddy cop kind of throwback with him and Channing Tatum. Like that could be kind of a fun, unlikely duo, if you ask me. But I would like to see Arnold in something again in the theater. I would. It just depends on whether or not the right project comes along. And the last actor that I mentioned was Robert Englund, and Robert Englund, I have him on here because I think Robert, he's so much more than just Freddy Krueger, and that's pretty much the only stuff that he's somewhat loosely connected with that could potentially get a theatrical release. And I think that Robert is the perfect casting choice for a really clever, witty, fun meta comedy that's about the life of a horror star. I think he would be a really great uh, actor to be the lead in a project like that. That's meta, that has a lot of in jokes about horror films and the horror community, uh, the various different trials and tribulations that come with being a horror star. Because he's a genuine likable personality. You see that in the documentary about him. You see that in any interview that actually has ever been done when it comes to anyone speaking with Robert. So, and he's already done some meta stuff before, like The Rise of Leslie Vernon. So I think something that's like maybe like a mockumentary, like a Christopher Guest style mockumentary, but it's like focusing on Robert Englund playing a fictional character who's a horror actor who's well known for their one role in horror, but has done all this other stuff, and he's just embraced it and just all the chaos and craziness that comes with that and all the other people that are a part of his circle. You could have cameos by Kane Hodder and all these other greats, Brad Dourif, I think it would be a real treat for fans, especially the horror genre, because it could be one of those things where, oh, look, there's that actor and there's that actress, and that's fun, that's cool, and I think the if the script is really well done, I think it could be really funny as well. Because I think there's a lot of things in the horror community that are ripe for parody, and not in the Stan Helsing kind of way. I think a mockumentary about the life of a horror star starring Robert Englund is a great idea, and I think he'd be a perfect guy to headline that. And I genuinely feel that that could become a cult classic if it was done the right way. And I would love to see it. I would love to see that particular project for Robert because I think he's the perfect actor to do it. Um, if not that, again, maybe something working with some of these other up and coming surreal filmmakers that I mentioned multiple times before. Um, but I would just like to see Robert do something and be on the big screen again, but not necessarily having to play Freddy. Because I think, I honestly feel that he's too old for that now. But he's not too old for a mockumentary where he's the star. I think he would be perfect for it. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on actors I wish would make a comeback, and feel free to mention any actors that you would personally like to see make a comeback in Hollywood in the comments down below. Um, I do have some actresses in mind, but I'm gonna save those for a separate video sometime down the road. So be on the lookout for that. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. See ya.